when I watch these playoffs, Matty, I see a lot of good teams. I think Portland's good. I think Denver's good. I think Philly's good. I think Milwaukee's good. I think Golden State's great. And you played on this roster. Steph looks hurt to me. He doesn't look 100%. Now, I'm not making excuses. As Joy pointed out earlier, his numbers are still great.
Right.
In fact, I can make an argument. Harden's eroded more throughout the entire playoffs than Steph has. But Steph is a slight build. Was Game 3 he's off, or is Game 3 Steph's not right?
I think he's off. And I think if you're banking on him continuing to play bad, that's not a safe bet. Like you said, his numbers aren't terrible. He just had 2 rough games and 2 tough games, but still averaging almost 24 points a game and shooting 43 from the 3-point line. So they got KD playing at a all-time level, proven to the world that he's the number 1 player in the world. And it's buying Steph time, but I think Steph knows and the rest of the team knows, and I think he'll step up.
You ever had a dislocated finger?
Yeah, bad. Hurts.
And I think it affects you.
No question. Luckily, it's on his left hand, but this is something that's going to nag him throughout the playoffs because you really don't have time to rest. They got a couple days off before Game 3, but it's just something every time you catch the ball, every time you swipe for a ball, it's just going to that initial get that pain out of the way. But it's something he can play through. Like I said, I think more it's just 2 bad games than there's something wrong with them.
I thought it was interesting. I think the fact that Golden State won the first 2 games and then took Houston to overtime, I would step out of that game if I was Steve Kerr, and I would say Steph played as bad as he can play, and we lost on the road leading 2-0 to Houston. Like, I would be empowered if I was the Warriors.
I think they're still good. I mean, what Houston was supposed to, you're supposed to take care of home, and that's all they did. Golden State took care of home. These are 2 very evenly matched teams. You know what I mean? You can say that, at times Harden hasn't played his best. Steph hasn't played his best, but this is still one of the better series. KD's on another level right now, another planet. But to me, Draymond has proven his worth right now. He has been an animal in these playoffs.
He has had a great – some guys, Jayson Tatum, who I love, has disappeared.
Draymond has stepped up.
And Draymond drove me crazy all year.
Right.
It's been great.
But he's a winner. You know what I mean? And that's when I say when I tell people, like, he's the heart and soul, not only the team, but the whole entire franchise. You take Draymond away from that team – with the current build of it, and they don't do what they do.
What is it about him? Because he drives me nuts.
He holds everybody accountable. He holds it, and when you play with him and you know him, he's coming from a good place. Now, sometimes he may go too far, but you love and you respect him enough to understand where he's coming from, because at the end of the day, all he wants to do is win. He's never really been a numbers guy, but he's still there, covering for everyone on defense. Now in the playoffs, he's knocking down his shots, making plays, covering the whole floor. He talks. He holds Steven, accountable. He holds Steph, KD. He holds everyone accountable, and he's just one of those leaders you need around.
Matt Barnes, 15 years in the NBA. Could have played football, by the way, at the next level. Nate Robinson was on earlier. Was another guy. Nate was a great college football player for a year before he went to basketball. So my unpopular stance today on the show, where everybody hates me, I said to start the show is people do confuse talent with valuable. LeBron leaves teams and they just disintegrate.
Right.
All of them. Mm-hmm. Lakers, he gets hurt. We thought these guys were all good. Mm-hmm. He gets hurt. They lose to the Knicks tanking teams. Miami, Cleveland. Kawhi leaves the Spurs. They're still good. This year, Toronto's 17-5 when he doesn't play. I know he's great. But, man, he doesn't pass. He's not a real communicator. He's just, to me, the guy you pay to come in, plays hard, gives you 26, plays his butt off. But is he valuable?
Yeah, I don't really agree with that stance. To me, Tim left San Antonio and they were still good. Tony left San Antonio, they were still good. Manu left, So to me, that's more of a franchise that is just on point, kind of like the Patriots, where you can plug guys in and they play and they do what they're supposed to do, and they get to a certain level every year. But in Kawhi's position, he's not a pass-first guy or really even a passer, but still guys in the leagues have succeeded doing that. Michael, Kobe. To me, when healthy, Kawhi is a top 3 player in the world, the best two-way player in the game. And we're always going to find something to talk about. To me, Kawhi doesn't talk enough, but then Embiid talks too much. You know what I mean? So you got to give and take. But to me, from your superstar, you want to know what you're going to get every single night with them. And Kawhi is averaging, 37 points a game. Locking people up on defense.
Best he's ever played.
Right. He's on another planet right now, too. And I think people forgot how good he was because he sat out that year. But playing against him for so many years in the Western Conference, he's top 3 in the world and hands down the number 1 two-way player in the game.
You guys have fairly similar builds. What made my wife the other day, we were talking about this, and I said, Kawhi's got abnormally large hands.
Yeah.
it allows him to leave his feet undecided.
Yeah.
He can kind of leave his feet and decide in the air.
Right.
Connie Hawkins had it. Michael Jordan had it.
Wrong foot jumper, quick dunker, either hand. To me, I was talking with, a friend of mine, Jelani McCoy, about this the other day. He's like a country strong, like lifting barrels of hay and
Paul Millsap's that.
And removing, concrete slab lift. Like he's just a different kind of strong. It's like a Ron Artest, not even weights. It's just he was born with it. To me, that's how I say he's a hell of a player. I think he's playing it, his butt off. Last game, everyone stepped up. I think the reason why Toronto, to me, has a chance is because Siakam is their number 2 star now. It's not Lowry. So Lowry's a 3rd or 4th option now.
That's the key to the team.
No question.
Nothing against Kawhi, but, Joey and I laughed all year. I'm like, I just can't buy Toronto. Because for the last 4 years, I just thought if Kyle Lowry's your 2, you're not winning multiple series.
No.
Pascal's maybe the most improved player in the league.
No question. Averaging 23 a game. Last game he had an off game, but to me now he's your number 2 option. And then it's a toss up for your 3rd option. Danny Green can get hot. Marc Gasol can get hot. Kyle Lowry can give you 14 to 15 is what you need, and 8 or 9 assists. And then you got Serge Ibaka can give you 10 to 12 points. So they have a supporting cast now, and I think it's going to be a battle between them and Milwaukee in the Eastern Finals.
So you don't like Boston going forward?
I like Boston, but Jayson Tatum
has vanished.
Okay, let
me. I like him, so I don't want to defend.
I love
him.
Jayson Tatum.
So I love him.
Jayson Tatum.
But I will say this: is that, and this is no knock. I love Kobe. Kobe could be hard to play with for certain players. Your game would align with Kobe's, but Jayson Tatum needs the ball a little. When Kyrie runs that offense, Tatum just observes it.
Right.
I feel like he just doesn't work at times with Kyrie. And Kyrie does not engineer. Maybe Kyrie doesn't trust him, but Kyrie doesn't look for Jayson Tatum. Like, that's what I see.
Yeah. I think it's going to be an interesting summer. To me, for Jayson Tatum, what how you go from good to great is consistency. He has great talent, but he's not consistent. And that's why I think it's going to be an interesting summer for Boston. I mean, do they keep Kyrie and get Anthony Davis and trade Tatum away? Or I wouldn't be mad if Kyrie left, because to me, this young core proven without Kyrie how talented they are. I think Jayson Tatum is lost this year from a standpoint of he was, called on to do everything last year, and he did it.
He was there 2 after Horford.
Yeah,
He's there 4.
He did it, and with Hayward back and Kyrie back, and like you said, Kyrie dominating the ball so much and not really looking for him as his second option. I think Tatum just hasn't found his comfort zone throughout the season. And I know from playing so many years, confidence is everything, and he just doesn't have his confidence right now. So, I mean, if he can wake up, I think they have a chance against Milwaukee, but Milwaukee's playing really well. And, Brogdon coming back, in the next game or so. We'll see what happens.
By the way, do you guys have that bite from the show called The Shop? So LeBron is on The Shop. It's funny, Matt. Years ago, I worked at ESPN. They created something called the Longhorn Network, and everybody thought it was an advantage for Texas football to have their own network. You later found out that Big 12 teams stole signals watching Texas because the cameras were always on Texas. So Mac Brown was the coach then, hated the Longhorn Network. Everybody thought it was an advantage. He's like, they can watch our signals and our hand signals. So when LeBron does The Shop, everybody thinks, it elevates. It elevates. But LeBron goes on and says something this weekend on The Shop that none of us would have known if LeBron didn't say it. Should that be out there? Yeah. If I'm a free agent, I'm like, what a mess.
Speak the truth.
You like the truth.
Speak the truth. To me, management was a mess this year, and I think everyone finally sees that. But from a standpoint of, we looked up to Magic coming up, playing, and then off the court what he's doing now. And I think that was the point in career where LeBron was at. He'd accomplished a lot. This next step was he still wanted to win, but he wanted to, set up post-career stuff and come into L.A. And I'm sure Magic was a big part of that. So for him to get him here, the train wreck of a year they had with the trade deadline debacle, his injury, for him to get LeBron here for the ship to sink and then Magic just to jump off without saying anything to him. I understand where LeBron's coming from, but I also understand Magic's situation, because we've continued to learn more and more about the blind emails and the backstabbing that happened with Rob. So I think Magic acted out of emotion. I think if he could have did it again, he possibly would have called LeBron like, hey, I'm about to drop this bombshell. I
would feel I owe LeBron that.
LeBron, if anybody. Because he had such an integral part about getting LeBron there. But like I said, I understand Magic's point of view. Magic has been the face of that franchise for how many years? Even though he hasn't really played, he's just when you look at Magic, you think Lakers. You know what I mean? So for him to kind of be treated the way he was treated and backstabbed the way he was, and for him to pretty much for Jeannie and Rambus's wife to choose Rob over Magic, Magic was hurt. So like I said, I think he acted out of emotion. If he could do it again, I'm sure he would call LeBron, but LeBron has every reason and every right in the world to really tell the people what happened, because all we do is speculate. Like I said, I played for so long, you hear so many misconceptions and speculations about what happened. He's telling you what happened now, so you have to respect it.
Good seeing you, bud.
Good to be seen.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.